Okay, well, good afternoon, or excuse me, good morning, everybody. As most of you know, it's Neil Simon, CEO and Chairman of Investor Q. Been working with Mr. Michael Leake for a long time now, and Michael thought and suggested it'd be a very prudent idea to have this call. I'm sure some of you have seen the recent press releases, and obviously there's been a bit of a good buzz. Stocks firmed up a bit, which is also nice. Obviously, we still think, significantly undervalued, but really hear more so to get into the fundamentals. Michael, congratulations. I saw the recent release on Rio Tinto. Very exciting opportunity for the company in terms of a new revenue stream, increased revenue and growth opportunities wrapped around that. But I do know, Michael, from our conversations, there's been very exciting developments wrapped around illusion, i.e. architecture, smart metal wrapped around Nuvia, nuclear, automotive, and military, pursuant also to the recent Stell's release on more kits on the Asian military order, which is great because that's quite a sizable order in the end. And on that happy note, again, Michael, that was a very, very good update over the last several weeks we've got. And as mentioned, everybody, Michael thought, with all this happening, and of course, we're starting to see a better price, but obviously we believe there's significant potential with hard work and effort Mr. Leake has done and his team over the last many, many months. It'd be a good idea to speak to the horse's mouth and have Michael update everybody. On that note, Michael, thank you for your time today. I know how busy you are, and do appreciate you taking the time to get to us. But there's so much happening. I'm going to hand it over to you at the end. If you have questions, please either email them to info@investor3.ca or put them live in the chat. We will try to answer all your questions. If we can't, due to timing, we will ensure they are answered, and Michael does answer them. And again, on that happy note, guys, again, thank you for attending and for your interest and, of course, support of CYMAT. And on that note, Michael, I'm going to mute myself, take myself off screen, and look forward to the update, which I think is pretty exciting with what's happening with the company. And I'll hand it over to you, Mr. Leake.
Well, thank you, Neil. And thank you to everybody again for taking the time. So I will do as Neil suggested, and as I often do on these, I'll cover the major verticals that we're in and initiatives we have there. But of course, I want to start with the most exciting initiative on our plate right now, which is the Rio Tinto opportunity. So this has been a long time coming. I've sort of hinted in it in previous webinars. We've been working with Rio Tinto for almost a year on this transition. But as many of you probably read, or hopefully you read, we announced that we entered into a binding letter of intent with Rio Tinto to assume their metal matrix composites business. So for those of you not familiar with metal matrix composites, not only is it our main input material, but what it is it's an alloyed aluminum ingot that has a very high percentage of ceramic particles infused in it. And the reason for that is it creates a material, excuse me, that's very lightweight, but has the wear properties of steel. So it's used in a number of industries, particularly in mobility, where weight is an issue and wear properties are an issue. So, for example, brake components, rail wheels, various other applications. And as I said, it is our main input material. Just a little bit of background. RTA, or Alcan, originally invented this some time ago and has been in this business for over 40 years. The reason they're getting out of it, we're told, is that it's is housed in a rolling mill complex that is being phased out. And given the size of the business, it doesn't make sense as a standalone business. And what they are seeking is somebody to assume the business with an orderly transition of the business to some very, very long-standing customers for this business. We are uniquely qualified to take on this business because the process of producing MMCs is very similar to making foam. In fact, Alcan invented our foam when they were working with MMCs and trying to figure out how to get these particles into solution. So the end processes are very similar. What we intend to do is situate the line right beside our existing foam line. And the reason for that is, first off, we have the space, and we can use essentially all of our existing skilled workforce, engineers, logistics, everything that are a fixed cost for us to take this on. So we don't see at this point the need for any incremental employees. In fact, the only costs we're going to have are the raw material costs and some consumables. So that makes it a very interesting fit for us. So a little bit about the financial metrics. It's going to cost somewhere between $2 and $2.5 million to get us up and running in this business. We have elected to buy our own equipment, sort of right size it for the business, and not take on the equipment that Alcan or Rio Tinto has in northern Quebec, where they currently produce it. It's very old equipment, and it's sized for probably 50 times the volume that they do. So we are going to optimize the sizing of the equipment, both so it fits in our plant and that we can run it as efficiently as possible. The historical financial or revenue, I guess, annual revenue run rates that we've gotten from them suggest that this is going to be somewhere between a $7.5 to $10 million business for us. That's how we've modeled this. In some years they've done substantially more than that. Over COVID, I think they had a year that was somewhat less, but we think that that's a very reasonable level. We aren't at this point mapping in or anticipating major growth in it, but that's not to say that growth of MMCs isn't a possibility. Certainly, we anticipate using more of it than we have as our foaming business increases. We expect the margins to be very strong, as I said, because we're using all of our existing fixed costs and spreading it over a much larger business base. And we expect to use very, very high quality recycled aluminum that we currently blend into our product as well. That's something that Rio Tinto wasn't using because they were situated close to aluminum smelter. So we can buy this material for significantly less than virgin material. So you put all that together, and we expect this to be a very profitable business and put us on a path to significant profitability corporately. In terms of the other costs of assuming this business, we will be paying some technology transfer fees to Rio Tinto. We are expecting first draft of those contracts in the next week. We don't expect them to be significant. They would be sort of in the low to mid six figures, and to pay them for transitional costs using their expertise, engineers and what have you, and readying for customer transition. As I said in the press release, there's two main benefits to CYMAT. First off, it adds a very significant uncorrelated revenue stream to our business with very long-standing customers. And from what we see, they're essentially a monopoly in this business globally, which makes the surety of the revenues coming out of this thing, well, we're very comfortable with it. So what it does for us is it adds a very significant revenue stream. It alone would put us into profitability, significant profitability, even without foam sales. But we do expect our foam sales to increase dramatically as well over the next 12 to 24 months. But probably more importantly, ever since I got into this business some time ago now, I've looked at ways to figure out how to bring this capability in-house. And the reason for that is that we can then customize the material better. We can bring the costs down substantially. And now we're able to do that with the benefit of bringing on an additional book of business that essentially justifies the capital cost. Now, this is very important to us, particularly in our automotive initiatives. In fact, the automotive work that we're doing right now, the development work, both in North America and in Japan, factors in the ability to use an in-house MMC, which of course brings down the cost of the product substantially for us. And it also opens up avenues that we've looked at before for very high volume applications where we just weren't price competitive because of the cost of our input materials. This now opens up quite a broad spectrum of opportunities that we've seen over the last 25 years where we just haven't been able to nail that down. So I'm very excited about this opportunity. Truly think it is transformational for the company and puts a very solid and predictable revenue stream into the company. So moving on, military, as many of you been reading, is very topical these days with NATO, all the NATO countries agreeing to increase their spending dramatically. The US just approved a spending bill that sees a significant increase in military spending as well. So it's a sector that we've been in for some time. Our main development in that sector, of course, is with our Asian vehicle manufacturer customer, something that we've been working on for some time. They are now finally ramping up production for their customer, which is the country's military. Their original order from the country is 350 vehicles. That is worth about $4 to $5 million to us, depending on the variants of those vehicles. We just announced that we'd gotten our second serial production order, which is just over $500,000. That will be buttressed with another order in early fall of about $350,000. So it's starting to ramp up nicely for us. It's great business for us. We do very well with it. And we expect it to continue to ramp up next year, as we've got about just over 2 years left on that contract. And then it's our expectation that this country's military would replace the remaining about 400 vehicles. They have a total fleet of about 750 vehicles of this of the vehicle that we're working on. So we expect this production to continue on that as well. And we also know that they are ramping up their marketing initiatives with NATO countries that currently have their vehicle, and particularly in the new or in the Mid East, where they're getting some traction already. And also they are planning another vehicle as well that we are in discussions with. So all told, that vehicle contract for us, I think is going to be very significant in the coming years and lay a foundation for our military business. The other significant initiative that we have in military are the multi-threat panels. They also have become very much more topical given the military spend both in Europe and the US. Our customer tells us that we are still on track for the first orders in the fall for this. And we are excited about seeing that grow significantly for us. The other thing we're doing is because of what's happening in military, we are redeploying our efforts and business development resources to emphasize military, and particularly talking to Canadian military manufacturers of vehicles and things where our material is of relevance. So it's a good time to be in military, and we hope to be able to take advantage of that. Next vertical is nuclear. As we've announced before, we have a partnership with Nuvia, which is the largest nuclear civil works contractor in France. France, of course, is After the US, the largest nuclear jurisdiction in the world, what they are going through right now is life extension projects on a number of their older facilities. And our material, together with the way Nuvia markets it, is very relevant to these life extension projects. So we announced earlier in fall the first project. The total project is about $2.7 million. The first phase of that, which we've already shipped, was just under $1 million. We're expecting the second phase to kick in late summer, early fall, which will start producing shortly thereafter. The good news as well is that they are looking at a new application for these sort of, call it nuclear threat panels, and it's a roof application. So we've quoted on that for this first application. It adds about 25-30% to the value of the contract. So we are hoping to get that, and we're hopeful that the remaining life extension projects will include, a roof element as well, which would increase the size of these projects. Nuvia, our partner, is ramping up their efforts, particularly in European countries, and we are using our resources and business development contacts in Japan to introduce this product in Japan as well. Japan is another significant nuclear jurisdiction, and they are planning on reopening a bunch of reactors that were closed after their disaster a number of years ago. Moving on to Illusion. Illusion has, for the longest time, been the backbone of our business. Our pipeline is still in excess of $10 million, excluding the outliers, which are the very large projects that I've talked about before. What we're seeing right now is we're seeing a lot of sort of small to mid-sized projects that we're producing for. We are expecting a number of larger projects in the fall of this year to land. The difficulty with Illusion has always been the predicting the timing of these large projects. So it has been a lumpy business. We're hoping that this trend towards smaller, medium-sized orders smooths out the lumpiness of the business. And of course, taking on the RTA business is going to also help smooth our revenue stream. But we continue to rely on Illusion as a main revenue generator for us, and we expect it to continue to grow nicely. So moving on to automotive, we're very active in Japan, and that's as a consequence of our partnership with Nagase, a major Japanese trading company who is also in the automotive space. So they represent us in Japan. Probably the most exciting thing and fast-moving initiative that we have there, we have a number of initiatives going on there, but the one that shows the most promise is the overcasting project that we're working on there with a major tier 1 automotive manufacturer. For those of you who don't know, overcasting is a process where somebody who is casting a significant part, in this case, it's a gigacaster that we're working with, and gigacasters have the ability to cast entire automotive frames. It's typically aluminum casting in one shot. Currently, Tesla's the only one who's doing that, but there are a number of gigacasters now out there, and there is definitely a trend moving towards, very large castings. So the problem with very large castings or these gigacasters is that you can only cast relatively narrow or thin sections, 4 to 5 millimeters at most. So they have to design the molds to have significant sort of structural fins and elements to enhance the structural integrity of these molds. So that adds significant weight to the frames. So in this case, their customer has given them a mandate to significantly reduce the weight of the frame that they're going to be producing. and they see casting around our foam as a very innovative way to not only take weight out of the frame, but also to add structural integrity to the frame at strategic locations, and impact resistance, any number of other benefits. But the main objective is to essentially take weight out of the frame. So we're on to our second set of trials with this particular tier one. They are pushing us very hard, and we are confident that we will be successful because we have done it before. We know that it works. We did it for Porsche program that we had in the 2000s that we were able to successfully overcast our foam. So we know it works. It's just, it's a little bit of trial and error when you're looking at these very, very large castings. So we're very excited about that if it works. Nagase, our kind of marketing partner, plans to take it to all of the other gigacasters and promote it as a way of taking weight out of these very large castings. The other interesting project that we're working on, aside from the base plate that we are continuing work on in Japan, is with our longtime North American OEM. We are in an RFI process for an impact component that we've already done some work on for them. And this is for a 27, possibly 28 model year car or SUV coming out. And as I said, we've done work on this before. We had a program to develop this particular capability. They've come back to us through a formal RFI process, and we are engaged with that to enhance our sort of credibility to deliver on short order on this. We're in negotiations with a major tier one to partner up with us to be essentially the assembly partner for this component. We would be the material supplier. The key material, of course, is foam in this component. So we believe that combination would give us the credibility with this OEM to take it past the finish line. And as I said, it's a very near-term project. It's and it's a problem they've got to solve. So we are very hopeful that this one gets past the finish line. We're also working on the APMA second exhibition vehicle. We expect to have at least one component, if not as many as 3 components on this demonstrator vehicle. We expect to, this is a paid program for us, and we expect to be underway in that program the latter part of July. So lots going on in automotive. And as I said before, the whole initiative of bringing MMC production in-house significantly enhances our ability to get into this industry on a much more cost-effective basis than we've been able to provide up to now. Other things that we're doing, we continue to work on a specialized high-volume flooring application in Europe. If successful, that adds $10 million plus revenue to our business. So we are very keen to make that work. And as I said, the testing with the customer is ongoing. Hopefully, we'll have something good to announce about that in the not too distant future. And we are doing some R&D work with CYMAT for a novel new application for our foam that hopefully we'll be able to talk about in the future as well. So that wraps up the update.